Well. Speaking of Epstein, so former Prince Andrew Mountbatten or whatever Windsor, it says, is released under investigation after arrest on suspicion of misconduct in public office. It says Epstein files could be just the tip of the iceberg for the Andrew investigation. And why has Andrew Mountbatten Windsor been arrested in an unprecedented moment for the UK and a former prince? And then Sky News Australia has a full video on this. Let's see what they have to say. It's just like, dude, all these people's lives are just imploding, and Epstein pretty much got away
And
with
get to some
everything.
breaking news that is happening as we speak in the United Kingdom, where it is on its way towards lunchtime on a Thursday. The reports are that Prince Andrew, the former Prince Andrew, has been arrested. The suggestion is that police have arrived at the former prince's home. Now, this information is very fresh to us right now. It is the BBC who is making this reporting as we speak, but Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, as he is to be known now, of course, the former Prince Andrew, all of the questions that have surrounded his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, all of the questions that have extended into potential domestic consequences that may be for him in the United Kingdom. Now, we will learn over the next hour exactly what has taken place, but 8 officers have arrived at his home in the past few minutes. They've arrived in 6 separate Metropolitan Police vehicles. Now, one of the accusations that was being levelled at the former Prince Andrew is that when he was the trade envoy, and he was for the best part of more than 10 years, he was representing the UK government. Now, obviously, he was above party politics as to whether that was a Conservative government or a Labor government. But amazingly here, that question of misconduct in public office is what this all connects back to, because some of the suggestions have been that information that he may well have learnt in the privileged position of being the trade envoy, he may well have spoken about that information outside of the areas that he was supposed to be doing so, potentially even with Jeffrey Epstein. But again, we will see all of this play out in the next little while. This is a potential jailable offence. Now, we know that the former Prince Andrew has said of any and all allegations that have been made about him in the past in relation to his proximity and allegations in and around Jeffrey Epstein that he has claimed to be innocent. Well, this is, again, a very different take on things, and one that does not require what the United States authorities have been able to find out. It is not related to the investigations that have happened in the Parliament in the United States, which, of course, has been very active. But, of course, he's not an American citizen, so he hasn't been able to be compelled to learn more about this. Now, at this stage, the police arriving, and again, the report from the BBC is the term arrested. Now, arrested simply obviously means, in the earliest of moments here, that this is somebody being engaged with by the police. Now, whether the questioning is taking place at his home right now, we assume that to be the case. Now, remember, of course, he was formerly in that cottage. He then was moved to the Sandringham estate, which is still owned by the royal family, but the expectation was that either the king himself or some arrangement had been made for him to be moved to that different, smaller and much more secluded property than the one that we have seen in the past, one that he has shared on and off at times with his former wife, Sarah Ferguson. This is the location of what is taking place right now. I've got a feeling we're going to be dipping in and out of this a lot in the next little while. So if we're mid-conversation with anything we have planned this evening, we return to this and return to it instantly. But the images that are coming through is the police arriving, and then we understand upon the arrival inside the home, him to be arrested. That is the beginning of the process of, at the very least, questioning him or forcing him into a scenario of being questioned, all going back to his time as the trade envoy for the United Kingdom, when he would represent the United Kingdom government, again, regardless of politics, the royal family being above politics of the day. him being able to move in the upper echelons of multiple societies, perhaps armed with information that may well have been of use to others. And in the extreme case, and there is no evidence to this point, so I am simply speaking to the possibility of what could be the basis here, is whether the information that he used, he was able to, in any way, shape, or form, use to improve his personal or somebody else's circumstances. The breaking news tonight is that the former Prince Andrew is currently talking with police at his home on the fringes of Sandringham Estate. There will be much more that comes to air in the next hour. The second we know more, you will as well.
Interesting. So let's see here. Where did it go? I want to get off of the screen. It says reports have emerged. The former Prince Andrew has been arrested by police at his home near the Sandringham Estate. The BBC has reported 8 officers arrived in 6 Metropolitan Police vehicles have taken Andrew into custody. The arrest is allegedly related to potential misconduct in public office during his time as a UK envoy, with suggestions that he may. Hold on. Ugh, this stupid thing. It went to the next video. Anyway, let me get out of this. I don't want it to stop playing. No.
Well, it's been revealed that Prince William wanted Andrew banished.
Dang, why does it do that? It's like it doesn't do what it's supposed to do. Okay, let me get out of this. Okay, there. So let's see. It says, why has Andrew Mountbatten Windsor been arrested? Now, this is the BBC. Look at his face. He probably never thought he would get in trouble. Let's see. Hopefully it'll go to it. Come on. Andrew Mountbatten has been arrested on suspicion of misconduct in public office. It comes after Thames, I don't know how you say that, Valley Police said it was assessing a complaint over the alleged sharing of confidential material by the former prince with late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The former prince has consistently and strenuously denied any wrongdoing in relation to Epstein. And why has he been arrested? It says Mountbatten Windsor was arrested about 8 Greenwich Mean Time, I think is what that says, or GMT, on Thursday on the King's Sandringham Estate in Norfolk, where he's been staying. Officers arrested the King's brother on his 66th birthday. It is understood that neither the King nor Buckingham Palace was informed in advance of Mountbatten Windsor's arrest by officers from Thames Valley Police. We don't know the specifics of the allegations of misconduct in public office being investigated. However, previously reported allegations include that he had shared reports from trade visits, forwarded a confidential briefing on investment in Afghanistan, and passed a treasury briefing to a personal business contact. Sounds like just any other politician to me. I know he's part of the royal family, or was, until they removed his butt. But anyways, as BBC News UK and Home Affairs correspondent Daniel Sanford said, there has to be an assumption that part of this is going to be the sharing of documents within the Epstein files between Andrew and Jeffrey Epstein himself. That's when Thames Valley Police got involved. But Sanford said it was possible that police were not only focusing on emails seen widely in the Epstein files. Firstly, there's 3 million documents in the file, so there may be some the media have missed. But secondly, Buckingham Palace said they would support Thames Valley Police in their inquiries. And that potentially means the police have gone to the palace or could go to the palace asking to see evidence of communications between Andrew and others. Assistant Chief Constable Oliver Wright of Thames Valley Police said, we understand the significant public interest in this case, and we will provide update at the appropriate time. The force said it would not be naming the arrested man as per national guidance. What the hell is that? It is the first time The former prince, who has faced numerous allegations over his links to Epstein, has been arrested. And then, what is misconduct in public office? Misconduct in public office is a really complicated offense, writes BBC News Home and legal correspondent Dominic Cassiani, something like that. It essentially boils down to an allegation that someone who is doing a job on behalf of the British public did something seriously wrong, knowing it to be wrong. Well, in American politics, that seems to be the order of the day, but I guess they actually take it seriously. So there's four elements or factors that police must focus on during their investigations so the prosecutors can later decide whether or not someone should be charged. First, the police must establish whether the person they are investigating was a public officer and the incident in question was plausibly part of their duties or those duties. If that's agreed, detectives will then look for evidence that the incident in question saw the suspect willfully neglecting to perform their duty or willfully misconducting themselves in some other way. That wordy definition has long been a source of legal debate. The next question is whether the action they committed was so bad that it was an abuse of public trust. Lastly, if the evidence has passed those three tests, police need to examine whether the person under investigation acted without reasonable excuse or justification. And that final question is crucial. It's a fundamental principle of criminal justice that someone suspected of wrongdoing is given an opportunity to put forward their side of the story, and that starts when police come and knock on their door. Where has Mountbatten Windsor been taken, and what happens next? Police say King Charles's brother is in custody, but we do not know or yet know where he has been taken. Typically, an initial arrest over an alleged crime of the type Mountbatten Windsor is accused of would be for a few hours to allow searches to be conducted and initial questioning, according to BBC's Daniel Sanford. Usually, a person who has been arrested is then given police bail and told a date to return to police station for potential further questioning. Mountbatten Windsor's arrest also means the police have the right to take a custody photo, his fingerprints, and a DNA swab. If he were to be held for more than 6 hours, it would have to be at a dedicated custody site, which is part of what is now commonly known as police investigation centers. Cells are basic, but Mountbatten Windsor would be offered a change of clothes, drinks, and food if required, and a duty solicitor, or an attorney, I guess, would be available to him if he did not have legal representation. And the timing, length, and number of interviews will depend on what the police know so far and what they learn in the hours after an arrest, according to BBC's Dominic Cassiani. I guess that's how you say that. At some point, a decision will have to be made by the Crown Prosecution Service and Thames Valley Police about whether to charge the King's brother with misconduct in a public office. It could be weeks before any substantial decision is made. And then where are searches taking place? Okay. Thames Valley Police said that in addition to the arrest, it was carrying out searches at addresses in Berkshire and Norfolk. Unmarked police vehicles were seen arriving at the Sandringham estate in Norfolk before Mountbatten Windsor's arrest. In recent weeks, he has set up a temporary home on the estate while his permanent residence there, Marsh Farm, is being renovated. Meanwhile, BBC News correspondent Helena Wilkinson said she had seen uniformed police officers close to the Royal Lodge in Windsor Great Park. Until very recently, this sprawling property in Berkshire is where Mountbatten Windsor lived. BBC News understands that searches are being carried out at Royal Lodge and that the officers are there to guard the scene. It is thought to be the only address being searched at the moment in Berkshire. Anyway, so maybe he'll get some accountability for something, if nothing else. I mean, I've watched a 60 Minutes episode from, I think, Australia, maybe, or it could have been from the UK. And pretty much they were just saying he was like a terrible man anyway. So anyway, maybe he'll get some accountability. We'll see. But I do see a lot of people having to resign from their jobs and stuff like that just because of their orbit around Epstein. However, it played out, even if they didn't do anything wrong sexually with all these kids. But yeah. Anyway, I will talk to y'all later. Have a good one. Maybe some things are starting to fall into place. See y'all. Bye.